Welcome to the Gary Null Show, a program designed to enhance mental, physical, and spiritual well-being through science and the wisdom of the ages. Let us take you on a journey of empowerment. Sit back, relax, and get ready to change your life for good.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Null. Once again, we take our cameras around the world in search of answers to major health questions. A really big question is, how did we end up with Gulf War syndrome? What are its implications for the family members who are now saying that they also are suffering from the symptoms, not just the service personnel who were in the Gulf? What does the Pentagon, the Defense Department, the Veterans Administration, what does it know that it's not willing to share with us? We're going to try to find answers to these very perplexing questions. I'm Gary Null. Join me now for our continuing exploration of Gulf War syndrome, a deadly legacy. Germs from the Gulf are good travelers, according to members of the medical community who have expressed concern regarding the possibility of infectious microorganisms becoming fastened to equipment and other materials. They cite instances of Navy personnel on aircraft carriers who never set foot on land, but who mysteriously acquired the syndrome subsequent to active duty in the Gulf region. When aircraft returning from overseas service were unloaded in domestic Air Force bases at the conclusion of the war, the contaminated equipment aboard the returning planes may have facilitated the disease's dissemination into the general population. It's estimated that clothing brought back by soldiers may contain infectious microorganisms that can survive for up to 7 years.
These soldiers, myself included, brought this stuff home to their spouses and their children, and they cross-contaminated them. The people that were in charge knew that this was happening. Their documentation proves that they had full and complete knowledge that this was going to happen. They still brought troops through to Tallil Airfield and Jalaba Airfield, which was in the contamination zone downwind from Kamassia and all the other destroyed facilities. They marched them through there a few days after Kamassia was destroyed and put them on C-130s and took them down into Saudi Arabia and immediately retrograded them from there back home. They went into a contaminated area and they took it home to their kids and their wives and their husbands. That is absolutely unconscionable, and something needs to be changed about that. This was policy-driven, not fact-driven. And the people at the highest level of command knew about that, including General Schwarzkopf. General Franks, who was in charge of 7th Corps, knew it too. The documentation proves that as well.
And it has to have been fairly well known before we went over. When I remember very vividly the night I left, they went through all of our bags, making sure that we didn't bring any sand home as souvenirs. They told us we'd go to the brig. They told us we'd be up for captain's mast if they found sand in our things. And if you gave it up now, you were okay. And a lot of us did. A lot of us just wanted to bring a little sand back as a souvenir. Couldn't do it. After I got back, I went to the blood bank to donate blood. I was told, oh, you're a Gulf War vet, you can't donate blood. I said, why? Well, we just got word that you can't. So since 1991, I've been unable to donate blood, and I don't know why. But there's nothing wrong with me. I find that a little disturbing.
It's been estimated that 30% of Gulf War veterans' babies are born with deformities. This is 10 times higher than the number of birth defects one would expect to find in the general population.
Well, now my son was born with a birth defect as a result of the war. Now he's had cleft lip and palate. He's had 3 surgeries. He needs at least 2 more. VA is not covering any of that. They've denied all of our benefits. He has speech therapy. He has tubes in his ears. He's had constant ear infections, so now he has hearing loss in one side. He has no father. He died when he was 2. He was not pleased that we were going to have another baby. Not that he didn't want to have another baby, but he was afraid. He was afraid of what he was exposed to, the shots he was given. I didn't share that concern at that time. I was just thrilled. And then well, my son was born, and my husband carried the guilt of that child until he died. He carried that guilt with him.
The study that was brought out about last year, that there are no significant abnormalities in babies born to Gulf War vets, the research was so significantly flawed, just from any researcher's point of view. They discounted all the births in civilian hospitals, and they discounted births in other states, that I am really dreadfully afraid to try and conceive and carry a child. I am just looking at my hair and my memory and my skin and things like that. I can't imagine what's happening on the inside of me and what may have happened to that very fragile genetic material that's in the ovaries. It scares me to death to try and think about carrying a child.
We were never warned not to have children, or to wait, or to take precautions due to chemical or exposures or anything of that nature.
My whole family life has changed. I don't have that intimacy anymore with my husband because I have no feelings. I don't play ball anymore with my son because by the time I throw the ball, my muscles and my arms hurt so bad, they get so heavy. So when they say the soldiers are in this for the money, it's not a matter of money. We just want to get well. We want someone to take an interest in us and try and treat us.
Our goal is not to find out what made us sick. Our goal is not to find out who made us sick, and our goal is definitely not to find out who we're going to put in prison for it. That will come. That will come with the help of the media, the help of Congress, the help of the Attorney General's office. That will come. What our goal is our health. We want our health back. We want our family members' health back.
I've had doctors that are sympathetic and want to know more, that have had to be signed out by their higher up, their chief of staff, before they could say anything. They were monitored in what they said. Even had one physician that her husband served over there with us that closed the door after her chief of staff left and said, I want to see everything you have. I want to know what's going on. And when I took it in and left it with her, I took her a stag this high, and I left it with her, the next thing I knew is I had a first sergeant up there going through the CCEP program, and he laughed the next time I saw him. He said, well, I have a feeling you dropped off a package of information to somebody, because we saw a female doctor flying down the hall after the doctor in charge, being very upset and mad that there was a lot of information out there that wasn't being shared with the physicians.
Some would tell you it's all in your head. Others would just, their reaction to it was in such a way that you knew they didn't believe, you know, that there could have been any connection, you know, that you were either making it up or that you were malingering, or that it was all psychosomatic.
If I were a soldier, I'd be outraged when they go to a VA facility, they explain the symptoms they have. They're real, they're not imagined, and the VA is so unresponsive. It is really hard to explain that, but there are probably some who have post-traumatic stress disorder. There are probably some within the range of the 700,000 soldiers who were sent, but probably a very minor factor in this.
I don't believe that this is any kind of classic PTSD. In fact, my observations are that the rates for PTSD were very low during the war, and that the actual figures, although we hear so much about stress being a contributing factor, are very low. I think that I'm observing depression, frustration, anger, which I think are normal responses to people having illnesses that they don't understand.